Welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. We are back with surviving as a trader in space. And today we're going to push on trying to make as much money as we can. Alright, so I did spend roughly 2 hours kind of on my spreadsheet. I'll put it on the screen so far of what I've got. None of it really makes a lot of sense, but I'll just show it anyways. And if you want to see it longer, just hit pause where you can. But yes, it doesn't make sense to buy and then make these parts and sell. You will always lose money that way, it seems. And you could make a little chunk of money by buying and selling, not selling, put in the acquisitions. So like the thruster components here and construction components, you could probably make a few bucks out of it, to be honest. So there's some positives there, but not a lot. So here's an example, basically, right? So in this case, the thruster components cost 46,272 a piece, and the acquisition itself, right here, if we do the math, of the 1,805,755 divided by the 40, we get 45,144 rounded up, right? So going back to the store, already forgot the number, but does it make sense to buy and sell like this? No, because look at that. Per cost is 46 here. You're gonna lose 1,000 amount there. So yes, it's true. You'll always lose money this way. Well, I guess until you get your acquisitions, your reputation up where you get more discounted items like this. Then maybe yes, that will help out. But I did spend a long hours work on the spreadsheet, trying to get an average of what a nickel costs, which become really, really difficult to find out. And it just doesn't work that way in terms of buying, dismantling, and selling. You always lose out no matter what, I think. I mean, small, reasonable ways that you make some money out of it, potentially. But your best bet is going to be what I did in Mars, which was buy the ore, put in ×4 yield in terms of 4 yield mods, build them into ingots and whatnot, and then sell the parts that way, whether it's steel plates, construction components, or any of these things, really. So that's the only best way to make money out of trading through economy in the store. But because I need quick money, I mean, I could do some acquisitions depending on what it is. So like if it was like construction components and things like that, which we can sell directly, so there's no real comparison of if we're going to lose out or not in this sense. But if you did the math kind of like per construction component to per ingot, then you'll figure out what that's going to cost. So basically 171,122 divided by 348 is going to be your per cost for construction components, and that's about 492 roughly. And then you take the 492 divided by 2.67 irons to make a construction component, which you get 184. That's kind of low in terms of iron ingots to make a construction component, because if it shows here, even large steel tubes, it takes 10 iron ingots to make one large steel tube. So the easy math is 191 here. So your per ingot cost for large steel tube or ingot itself is much more than acquisition. So again, it just doesn't work out perfectly. Here it does. So an interior plate costing 182, and it's only 1 iron ingot to make one interior plate. So your real cost is 182. So you net $2 basically, if you were to buy all this and then sell the construction components in that sense. So that's pretty much how that works, if that makes sense. Although on my spreadsheet, I've been building up an average buying potential. So interior plates by iron, the average cost is 189. Considering I only have 2 data points for this one. But the average of iron per things such as interior plates, large steel tubes, girders, steel plates, I gathered all that information, did the math, and the average for all that is 188. So I guess if it's lower than 188, it'll be kind of worth it. But in terms of buying it to sell or put into acquisition, that's where it doesn't make a lot of sense. So basically, if we were to do this acquisition right here, 348 times 2.67 will be 929 roughly. And that's how much iron ingots we're going to need to create all this, basically. I accepted it, and then the net is going to be 171,122, right? So if we went back to kind of see how that kind of works out, which it kind of does make a little bit of money, but I said it just nets you like $2 per. So that's not a lot. It's going to be a rough gather for this. So if I get 929 of this, it's going to cost me 169. So about a little less than $2,000, a little more than $2,000. Yeah, a little more than $2,000 profit in that sense if we were to buy all that interior plates, turn it into construction components and things like that. So I started or ended last episode about 3 mil. I did a lot of acquisitions, which gained a lot of reputation, which is good. So that gives us the discount. But I only gained 1.5 roughly throughout the whole entire time. I spent staying here, buying things, dismantling them, and make them, and then throw into the acquisitions. I did a lot of data pad purchases as well, which is kind of dwindle down the money just a tiny bit, which is not significant, as you see. So it would be a long ride to just make money that way. Definitely not ideal. But yeah, buying at 182, I think that's kind of the cheapest purchase you can get out of it, unless the girders. My average of selling girders was 182. So that's just pretty much on par. I mean, small steel tubes, it takes 1.67. So that don't work. 360 divided by 1.67 is 216 roughly, or 215. That doesn't make sense. Steel plates take 7, and that's 197.8. So that doesn't work out. The cheapest in terms of turning into ingot would be this. So we could buy it all. It's about $500,000. We'll buy that, and of course we'll dwindle our money down just once again. So that's just how it's gonna work. And then we just pop in, dismantle it, and then build it up. That's pretty much what I've been doing for the past roughly 2 hours, plus doing the spreadsheet on the back end just to see if it all works out. And it doesn't. All right, so I've been trying to dismantle a lot of stuff here, so then that way we can have iron ingots. But I did a lot of acquisitions too, so I am now pretty much material broke, which I shouldn't have done that, but I do also have a lot of acquisitions that I picked up to finish. And some of these will net us a large amount of funds, like this one right here for motors. We have some construction components and more construction components, basically. Really, pretty much, at the moment, at least, it is better to do search contracts in that case. Although search contracts not far enough to actually do some exploration, things like that. But yeah, it is. That's pretty much the problem there. So, and this is really slow unless we do speed mods. Do we even have enough for speed mods? That's a good question. It is fairly easy to make. I could pretty much buy all these parts if I have to. So there's that. But that's gonna run the power down a bit. I mean, that's not even a bad thing. So maybe add the speed mods just to speed up the process. It's not gonna net us anymore. It's just gonna speed up the process, really. And of course, I need to leave in order to do that. So I guess we just do that then. We'll unlock and back up a bit. All right, we're out of the safe zone. All right, let's see if we have the parts for this. We don't, but we can always queue it up and create those if necessary. So we'll kind of let's not disassemble. Let's just do it this way. Actually, we could disassemble. We have a basic assembler, so hopefully we could queue it up here. We have the motors, computers, so small steel tubes we should also have. Yes, we do. Construction components, and of course steel plates is what we're missing. And that is stuff that I have kind of queued up for production. Nope, I should have it queued up for production. All right, so it's a bit of a struggle to even get a speed mod going, so that's quite interesting piece to that. Alright, we could put a speed mod up here. So that's what we're gonna do. Just gonna have one speed for now, I think. That should do. It's gonna speed up the process ever so slightly. Not by much at all, obviously. And of course, it's gonna suck out more power that I don't really have anyways, so that's gonna be fun. Alright, let's look at the disassembling. It should be a little bit faster, yeah. That works out. So if we had a little bit more speed mods, even better, but I highly doubt we're gonna have the chance to do that as well. So there are other things I was testing in the background, and that was the shields. So shields seems to be working okay. The last time I put it on, I just didn't have it showing right here. It was a low reflective, so you couldn't really see it too much. I did put the shield fit a little too much as well, which I overpowered it. So yeah, I mean, luckily we found a base that has shields and everything like that, but I'm not gonna turn it on yet because we don't have a decent amount of power just yet. We do need to add a couple more batteries for one into the system, but we do need to get a lot more materials for that. I mean, we do have a good number of materials in the sense of being able to get them, but yeah, as I mentioned before, my adventure of doing a whole bunch of acquisitions kind of made us a little bit on the material poor side of things. But I need to kind of get these done, and then I should be able to move on from there. The biggest problem is these motors. The motors require nickel, and I don't have a ton of nickel. So I don't know where I'm gonna get nickel. So that's the biggest problem I'm having. But the other ones we can do easily, like it's just the construction components. So we need about 802 worth. That's not too bad. What's the lowest motor? Is 340. Can I get away with 340 motors? I probably can. I just need about 92 right over here. All right, so let's see. Can we get 92 motors here, and then the rest to be construction components, hopefully. And that would help us with our purchases going forward. I mean, we could go and buy a ship, attach it to ours, or even dismantle it, but we're looking at a small ship at this case. Which may or may not be worth it. Dismantling it, probably not worth it. The only thing that would be worth it is, because it does come up fairly often, and that is the thruster components that comes off of the ion thrusters. But if we're talking about the small ion thruster, is it even worth it? It's probably not, right? If we're looking at the small one, it's just one ion thruster. Okay, that is definitely not worth much at all. Yeah, so there's not much we can really do at this point, in terms of making the purchase and things like that. But I do see a wandering merchant right over there. So I am very inclined to go ahead and see what they have for trade. All right, we made it to the wandering merchant. I think it's slowed down a bit or stopped. Let me just get a little bit closer. And again, I feel like if we really become desperate, we could dismantle this ship right here. I mean, we're not at that point just yet, but we could do that eventually. I should really put a beacon on my ship as well, because it's gonna be really difficult to find if this thing does fly away. Let me say hi to the pilot. And this one's got a tiny little interior turret and then a Gatling. So that's not worth much at all. I mean, if I scrapped a ion thrust and then be able to sell it or acquisition it, that's worth it. As we made the 2 mil initially from there too. Ooh, field emitters. What do you sell? What can I sell, I should say? Canvas at 2163 a pop. That is very low, because my average sale price that I have jotted down is 3,453. That is significantly low. Same with gravity components. The average purchase price here is 445,000, and this is less than 3,000. Motors, ooh, yeah, they are selling things significantly cheaper than the economy base. Superconductors as well. I mean, I wish they were selling it at that price, because that would be worth it, but that ain't happening. Okay, so things like girders here, which takes 2 iron ingots to make. Looking at the sale price for this is pretty low compared to prices I've seen before. Ooh, metal grids. Metal grids, it's worth it because it has cobalt and nickel. Which nickel I'm pretty shy on. And this is a lower cost than my average sale price that I've seen as well. So I might actually pick this up. The best bet for nickel is bottles, artillery shells, or medical components, which medical components are a bit expensive. All right, so they sell radio components and they buy it. So that's just a rip off right over there. if you notice that. Ooh, steel plates at 977. That is very worth it. And they have uranium ingots. Ooh. Interesting. I don't know. Probably not getting that. All right, we can spend $1 million on the steel plates. We can always use steel plates. And that is fairly cheap. That's 139.6 roughly for an iron ingot. So, yes, let's buy that. Oof. There's not enough space in my inventory. So, can I buy the 1,000 for now? And you wait for me here while I head back to my ship that I can't seem to find. And then I'll buy the rest right there. Is there a way I can connect to this thing? Nope. So that's out of the picture. All right, so I gotta keep flying back to this ship here, or I get my ship a little bit closer to it, which I guess I can do. Okay, so if you take too long, they do end up leaving. That's interesting. Can you please stop for me? Right, this thing is not gonna stop for me whatsoever. So let me try to pick up what I can pick up really quickly. I'm gonna get this. Ooh, that's gonna make me pretty broke, but I think I can use that for now. Of course, we can't buy that much, so let's just buy. Can't even do that. So 100. All right, for now, and of course, let's just get out of here. Because for some reason you don't want to stop for me anymore. Because I took a little too long, I guess. Now the problem is I'm not sure how far it flew away from my ship. But it should be around somewhere. I assume that's it, unless that's an asteroid. I think it's it. Why did you start running away from me? Why can't you stop for me and stay stopped for me? Alright, so we got a little bit of the metal grids and ran our money drier than before. So, definitely not ideal, but I mean, it should work out down the line, hopefully. So, now we got a decent amount of steel plates, which is awesome. Which I don't think I have acquisitions for steel plates now. I have only construction components. So, we're still building construction components, but we don't have no more nickel for our motors, which that's why we did the whole buying of metal grids. So at least that way we have some kind of nickel. And now raise our money up just a tiny bit more. Not really. So this whole buying and selling, I think I just lost out on a decent chunk of money. So that's not great. I really am having to either find another Mayday ship or base and or attack something that would net us more materials. Without weapons, that'll be a little bit tough to do. So, do we buy a small ship with weapons, like a scout ship, load up a shield on it, and start, you know, attacking a large ship with what we got in that sense? That could be an idea, potentially. I don't know how well that's going to work because the small ship is probably not going to have that much shields. And of course, I have to dismantle my own big old shield here in order to do that. Or maybe not. I mean, what I could do is assimilate that ship onto this ship and use it as a custom turret controller kind of thing. I mean, that sounds like a fun idea to do. So, okay, I might just do that. So we're gonna jump over to, when I say jump, I mean fly over to an economy base that sells ships, and we'll kind of decide from there how we're gonna do this. I do wish that we had jump drives, so that we could travel a little bit better and purchase things a lot quicker. So right now, I think it's going to cost us, what, 34 million just to get jump drives ready, and that's just the superconductors. So that's the biggest problem that I'm having with this. So I'm getting very used to the ship now because I did the connection without the camera. I guess something to boast about a little bit. Nothing too significant, but yeah, it worked out pretty well. All right, let's get our motors. I have enough for the motors. I think I have enough for the construction components as well. Although that is going to take a lot longer to make. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to make it to that mark for the construction components, the 900 or so. That's not good. What can we dismantle to get us that? Well, we have the steel plates that we bought, or I thought I bought. What happened to all of that? Oh, it's in the connector. Okay, that definitely scared me for a second. All right, so got rid of some steel plates, and that should get us all situated with the construction components, which is perfectly fine. All right, let's turn this thing off in terms of the air vents, get the depressurization on, get out of here, and start returning some stuff. So the wandering merchant or trade station was helpful, so we can always trade that in. We were able to buy things really, really cheap, so that was great. I think we said we got 340s. Let's finish this one off first. Perfect. And we can finish off. Oh, am I trying to finish off both? I guess I was. Let's do the larger one first. And we should have enough for this one relatively soon. Not yet. Okay. All right, so something like this works out. 1683 for large steel tubes. And this will give us easy money. So the reputation is going to help out a lot when it comes to these contracts and acquisitions. So we have... Ooh, I should have picked it up. There was a large steel tube acquisition. I just missed it, which was 200 per large steel tube. So that could have just netted me easy money, which unfortunately I did not accept it. I should really accept these. That way it'd be easier to see how much they cost and what I can buy them for and everything like that. So I know they do sell motors as well, but it's very rare. That's another problem. And with these discounts, it's making things a lot more easier to purchase in order to sell back or make something to sell back. So, unfortunately, there's nothing to sell back that's directly steel or iron or so. Here's another example: bulletproof glass. Although I think we need a lot more. Yeah, glass is 396 pieces, and I can only buy 134, but at a very low price, which is great. But I don't have I guess I'll pick it up because that is a 5 glass. Yeah, 5 silicon per glass. So that's 994 divided by 5. So that's 944 divided by 5. That would net us 198 or 199 per silicon. And then based on this acquisition per is actually 206. So that would give us a tiny bit of profit. Tiny bit, nothing too crazy. All right. So before I keep kind of lowering my funds here, we should really stop with the acquisitions before I end up actually losing all my funds. I mean, I am kind of getting some of it back in terms of materials, so that becomes kind of helpful. Okay, so I'm seeing something that might work out in terms of buying and selling. So radio components might actually be something that we can buy parts for and sell for a pretty decent price. Because if I'm looking at my sheets, I could be wrong, but if I'm looking at my sheets, I don't have it here now. I mean, I don't have the glass here, but I bought 134 glass, which would be 5 silicon per, which I think was less, roughly 200. I think it was. I don't know. I gotta check back, to make sure. But my average for glass was 218, and in terms of iron, my average is about 188. So if I buy below that price, and the combination of both the iron and the silicon times what it makes to make a radio component, which is 267 iron and 0.33 silicon, that would be 574 or 575 to make based on what we purchase. And then we sell it for 740. So that could kind of work in terms of making money by just selling radio components in this case. Yeah, I mean, that could work. Would solar panels work or solar cells work? Well, it needs nickel, and I can't calculate nickel too well because there's no standalone piece that they sell that has nickel. So it really becomes really, really difficult to figure that piece out. You could kind of figure it out, maybe, but it's very loose by doing the motors. So breaking that out and the costs for the iron ingots and the difference for the nickel. But the nickel in that case looks like it's about 700. So that doesn't make sense. I mean, it could, but it's expensive. But if we get glass for less than 200, we get iron based on the breakdowns of less than 188, we net profit probably roughly 200 a piece here. So that might save us in terms of the trading aspect of it. So if I make 365 radio components, that should net us a decent chunk of money. So let's just do that really quick, and I think that's gonna be our free money in this case here. And when I say free money, I mean a profit. We'll just make 400 for now, since I think we have all the parts to make it. Potentially, no, I think we have to break down a few things here in order to make that happen. All right, so it looks like we are out of certain things. So silicon we still have. It's just the iron that we keep running out of. But if we keep dismantling steel plates and small steel tubes, things like that, we should be fine. Okay, we have enough to sell the 300 or so. So again, my average of purchasing these specific items that are pretty, I call them absolute, because a girder takes 2 iron ingots to make. So the average selling price divided by the 2 will net us like 182, 189 for interior plates, or large steel tubes at 207, things like that. But as we're looking at the store, how much we're purchasing them for. So before we just bought interior plates for less than 180 or roughly 180. So that gives us an absolute of buying or having the iron at about 180 per interior plate, or 185 in this case right now. Let me add that to the average buying. But it's still below our total averages. The average actually just dropped 187.9. So if I buy less than that, that's actually still worth it. But either way, I think whatever it's, as long as it's lower than selling it at 740, then we're perfectly fine. Unless I'm totally wrong about this in terms of what I have listed, then yeah, that doesn't make a profit. Actually, that seems like a decent profit, although you can't sell too much at a time. A production of radio component, yeah, 2.67 and 0.33 silicon. Buying glass and divide that by 5 silicon will be 218 per silicon, or 219 roughly. And then we bought, let's just say, the interior plates at 185. It's 1-to-1, so 180, yeah, 185 and the 219. We just do the math compared to the 2.67 for iron, so that's times 1.85 times 2.67, which is 490. Let's just say 494, and then of course the 219 for silicon, times that by 0.33, and that'll be 566. And if we're selling for 740, we get a profit of 174 per radio component. So we can only make 365. So that would profit us 63,000. That's not bad at all if I'm doing this correctly. It should be right. I hope so, at least. It makes sense to me in that case. So I gotta highlight that to make sure I am selling it at the right price. Alright, so I feel like by the time I make all that and sell it, based on how fast we have things set up right now, we're probably not going to always get that amount that's there, but let's just make sure. I mean, I think it's always been selling roughly at 700. Yeah, 740. So if I sell all of this from a large cargo, I get 270 right here. But I think 63 of that is roughly profit. So that would be awesome if that really is the case. And it should be, based on how much I'm buying things for. So let's just kind of prove that once again. So here, 185 for interior plates. That's 1-to-1 for an iron ingot. So that's 185 per iron ingot. So times that by 2.67, that's 494 rounded up. So that's the cost of iron to make a radio component. And then if we look at the glass, which I don't have glass here, but look at my average prices of what I've seen for glass. It's about 1095, and we'll divide that by 5, and that'll be about 219. So that's 219 per silicon in this case. And then to make a radio component, we just need 0.33 silicon, so times 219, and that will be 72.27 roughly. So we add that to the 494. It is 566 to make a radio component, one piece. And of course, we sell it 740 minus 566. So that's about $174 profit. And then, of course, we times the profit by the 365. That would be 63,510 profit doing that. So that is definitely worth it. Or even this. Steel plates selling at 1184 divided by 7, that's 169 per iron ingot right there. And that would reduce our price significantly there as well. So I guess that is going to be our main selling point. Detectors are a little bit more expensive in terms of nickel, so I don't even know what my cost of nickel is at this point anyway, so that's going to be a hard sell. Magnesium powder is not even worth it. I need the ammo is one thing, and plus, you can only sell 14 pieces at a time. Cobalt is... that's half a mil for cobalt, but that's coming from the metal grid, so that's not really worth it. And solar cells, until I can figure out what the cost of nickel is, which is a little hard to figure out, then we can't really know what this is going to be. I think it all kind of profits out a bit as long as your iron and silicon's bought at a very cheap price. Then the nickel shouldn't cost too much, right? It's hard to say. I mean, the only thing that really has a lot of nickel is medical components, which is not even sold here, your motors basically, and also metal grids. But metal grids has a combination of iron, nickel, and cobalt, so that's why that's so expensive. So I don't know. I think technically, if I keep selling radio components at at certain times that I get, again, that's $63,000 right there at a time. I think the economy based cycles every 20 minutes. So every time I come back, hopefully I have about 400 in my ship. So I can always have that 63,000 profit. So if I do that a couple of times, I mean, I'll be 100,000 every 40 minutes roughly, which is not a lot, obviously, but it kind of works out. All right, so here's another good example of a quick acquisition. 156,292 credits for 506 small steel tubes. So that's about 308 or 309 per. And if we go to the store and buy it, and I think we got a good discount right now. Look at that, 284. But of course, we only want to buy, but we want to only buy how much the acquisition is asking for. We don't want to buy it all, obviously. So we need 506. So if we took 506, that'll be 143,704. So we'll buy that. Oh, I think they caught on. That is not worth selling right here. 507. Ouch. That's a big slap in the face at the moment. I guess solar cells will be worth it because it got up. Maybe I got to look at or log these in terms of when it's high and lows. So I guess some of these can net you a decent profit as long as you pay attention to what's high and low. So I'm listing it all down, so it should be okay in that sense. All right, so I can acquisition back the steel plates or steel tubes. So I profit on hand 12,588. But that's just buying and putting it back into the acquisition and it's getting the reputation for a discount as well. So that all kind of works out really, really well, to be honest. Motors, I think I have too many of these motor ones as well. 874. Yeah, the selling motors right now since not too bad, but this doesn't work out. So motors based on the acquisition, this one, the 1 mil 862 310 divided by the 874, it's 2130 or 2131 per, and we're buying at a significantly higher cost here, so that doesn't work out. Right, so I feel like if I keep doing this, I'm just gonna end up losing a lot of money. So let's just kind of stop doing that for the time being, and let's set off to do what I wanted to do, and that's kind of fly in, get to a ship selling station really quick and kind of see what that's gonna get us. All right, so we need to kind of see where we're going to, so that's the biggest problem. Do we want to kind of fly away from here? We could risk it and fly away from here and go to another planet or moon or something like that to kind of see what's around there as well. And we could roll the dice like that. The next planet would be Mars and that moon, which is Europa. We have, well, I think that's Titan over there, which is pretty far, unless that's Pertam. Where is Pertam? I actually don't know. But that's quite the distance. That's gonna take probably an hour to travel, to be honest. And I don't know if I want to travel that far. But if we do travel, it'd be good too, because we might run into another Mayday ship. So That would be also positive. Although I should buy myself a weapon if I don't have one. I think I have a rifle. I mean, a pistol. Which is not practical for any hunting missions here. Right? I have this. And that is about it. And 3 clips worth. Whew, rough. Rough. Alright, whatever. Let's just do it anyways. You never know what we're gonna get ourselves into. So might as well do it. And kind of hope for the best here. I mean, we could get to the ship, like I said before. I was gonna get a small ship and put a custom turret control on there. But 3.5, I don't think we're gonna buy a decent ship that way. But should I really do that first before I go? I feel like I should. Otherwise, I'm not gonna do it and end up and then we're gonna end up never able to do it because we're not gonna find another ship selling base. So that's my biggest problem. So a ship selling bases obviously is the MKs, which is between the 2 eco bases right over there behind the planet. That's also rough, really rough to fly to. So I kind of feel like if I did that, it would be kind of hard. And also paint a target on my back and have our threat level a little higher. So I don't know. I mean, if we do that, we're pretty much attaching a singular turret ship that costs close to $1 million just to make this work. I mean, is that worth it? Probably not, but would it be fun to do? Absolutely. So I guess we can just try it first. And then we will make our travels to another moon. I think that should be Titan, actually. The other one was Pertam, I think. Hard to tell. But I think the next closest planet is Mars, wherever that went. And we can kind of go to that moon and roll the dices and see if there's anything surrounding it that way. We had NPCs fighting each other, actually. Do we stay for that battle? Ooh, they're actually going. They definitely are gonna go at it. That's actually pretty interesting. That's. I wish I could. Should I stop? They are definitely gonna hit each other. They're 2K away from each other, 3K away from each other. It looks like. Oh, that would have been fun to watch, and I could pick up the scraps. Oh, should I go back? I mean, it's dangerous to go back as well. All right, let's stop really quick. Let's stop. I need to see this. All right, we are pretty far away, but I'm pretty sure they are dogfighting at the moment. Oh, I think they are. And should I go back and pick up the scraps? I mean, that is gonna be putting myself in danger too, because then yeah, they're definitely fighting. I can't see a thing, but I need to turn the ship around to see this a little bit better. Here we go. We're about 10K away. I think they definitely are battling it out. Let's see. Where's my view? Right there. There we go. Ooh, they got shields, so... Alright, there's no scraps to be made here. It looks like they couldn't even penetrate their own shields right now. Would be nice if they run out of ammo fighting each other. And I just swoop right in and start grinding them down. They're not really shooting each other, looks like. They're trying to, like, gauge each other. So that's interesting to a point. So once I get there, they're probably just going to shoot me down because I don't have shields on. Unless they are shooting each other, but we're just too far to see it. I'm just going to zoom in like this. But it looks like they still have shields. They still have shields, so... it doesn't really do anything for us. Unless, again, they are shooting, but we can't see anything. I think they are shooting because the shields are off and now it's on again. So, yeah, I think they're shooting each other. We just can't see it at this distance. But at least we get to enjoy a bit of a dogfight, although we can't see. Ooh, what? That's crazy. That's so much maneuverable than that one. That this thing is just flying around. I think it's shooting the shields a lot. And that one isn't. If I get near there, I'm pretty sure they'll both turn around and just forget about each other and start targeting me. So definitely not gonna get that close to it. But this is definitely an interesting thing. If I get a little closer, would I be able to see the battle itself? That would be awesome. Alright, I'm gonna travel ever so slowly to them. Just want to see if I can see the firepower that's going on, but I mean, definitely a big risk I'm taking to get close to them without any shield. Should I just pop the shields on? Probably. I don't know. I mean, I could sneak in, start grinding down on parts of this ship or that ship while they're fighting each other. So, kind of thieving it out there. So about 6 away, 7 away, and I don't see the firepower going, but I'm pretty sure they are shooting each other. And I think this one's ran out of ammo because I don't see this one's shield's going up. Oh, there it is. It's going up now. Okay, we are getting a little close. I don't know why I'm doing this because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get targeted fairly quickly. But I'm not seeing them shooting each other anymore. But I'm pretty sure they still got ammo. Did they give up on each other? I think they gave up because one's headed that way and that one's, well, he's trying to get back. Yeah, I think they gave up. Okay, so that could tell me that they either ran out of ammo potentially, or this one just kind of lost its point. Should I risk flying by and hopefully maybe I can take over one of these ships? It's a little risky. And I don't know if that is something I should be doing. Because definitely... Ooh, that just disappeared. Interesting. So this one is just flying as is. Alright, so I'm pretty sure it still got ammo. But then I'm kind of curious why it stopped shooting. Do we kind of pass on by to see? I mean, we could run away fairly quickly too. If we need to. All right, let's kind of risk it and see how it goes. All right, we're getting about a K away now. Oh, we're getting a little too close. And we are not getting shot. Ooh. Oh, no, we are getting shot. We are getting shot. We are definitely getting shot. Let's not do that.